While being mindful that the coronavirus appears tragically to be a deadly illness for some, taking a step back and considering the business angle, companies are being encouraged to adapt and shift production lines away from what they know and understand into areas that help governments in the push for more vital supplies. IG writer Josh Warner joins us now. He's been looking through the areas that all of a sudden become critical. Josh, we live in extraordinary times. We'll look back on this period as something that will hopefully be a one-off. Some have likened it to taking us onto a war footing. How big a deal is this for corporate UK and corporate global?
It's the greatest challenge that modern day society has faced. And quite simply, right now, the governments around the world just don't have the resources they need to fight this virus alone. And that's why we've seen industries step up where they need to, and why governments have sort of taken the unprecedented step of asking them to overhaul their factories in order to churn out vital supplies such as hand sanitizers, personal protective equipment like masks and gowns, and also ventilators, which are proving crucial to treating people who are suffering severe symptoms of the coronavirus.
Well, let's pick up on this last point because I want to talk about the industries that have started moving their production away from, as I said, what they know and understand. Let's take the hand sanitizers and PPE first of all. What are we talking about in terms of companies that are being encouraged and indeed have thought it's the right thing to do to shift production away from what they normally do?
Yeah, so I suppose the first thing to say is that it's important to realise that the companies are stepping up are doing so because they have the resources and capabilities to do so. So, for example, alcohol is a key ingredient in effective hand sanitizers, with most governments recommending, alcohol-based sanitizers to people. And this is something that's already used by, perfume makers such as Louis Vuitton, and also alcohol distilleries like Pernod Ricard and AB InBev, all of which have now changed their factories to producing either hand sanitizers or ingredients to allow others to produce hand sanitizers. LVMH has turned its French factories from producing Christian Dior and Givenchy to making hydroalcoholic gel for other people to make. While Pernod Ricard has done it in even more factories in other countries such as Spain and the US. And as for PPE, it's mostly clothing companies that have adjusted their production lines from making fast fashion to making face masks and protective gowns. H&M, Zara, which is owned by Inditex, and luxury brand Prada are among those that have answered the calls of governments in that respect. But there are other companies such as car maker Fiat Chrysler, which is trying to make about 1 million face masks each month in North America to supply the US, Canadian, and Mexican markets. So as we can see, there's a variety of companies that are using their resourcing capabilities wisely.
We hear a lot about governments wanting to support companies, and I know there's a lot of money available to these companies that are in dire straits now. But I notice actually, interestingly, Josh, that some companies are actually doing this for free. What's the model here? I don't want to be too cynical, but one would assume that at some point companies want to ride on this.
Yes, that's right. Right now the financial details of sort of providing this equipment maybe not be the top priority, and it's more about getting it out there. But still, some companies are finding advantages by doing that. So, for example, Scottish brewer BrewDog has started producing hand sanitizers and providing this free to hospitals, for example. But still, they've managed to put a strong brand on there. They've named it Punk Sanitizer, which is in line with sort of their other alcoholic brands. And it's a great way of, getting your name out there and also showing people and the market that you are stepping up during a time of crisis. So we can see that companies are finding benefits there.
We know, of course, this entire area is critical at the moment, but we're hearing a lot about ventilators. And I suppose to some degree, there is a steeper learning curve for those companies that want to go into ventilators. It's quite a specific and specialized area. What are you seeing about the companies that are now putting some of their production lines over to this area?
Most countries are in short supply for the amount of ventilators they think they'll need to handle the peak of the virus outbreak. But there seems to be two different approaches that are emerging at the moment. The first are companies that are trying to design new ventilators from scratch that can be rolled out quickly. This is something that we've seen firms like Dyson, which usually make Hoovers, come up with recently. However, the problem with that is that these ventilators, as new products, will have to go through a rigorous test to make sure that they're safe for patients to use. So it's unclear exactly how quickly these new ventilator designs can get to market. The second, more viable route is scaling up production of existing ventilator designs that have already been approved. So this has seen companies like Tesla open talks with medical equipment maker Medtronic, which already has approved ventilator designs, as well as Ford team up with firms like 3M and GE, who also have existing ventilator designs. So they're trying to use, excess capacity in car making plants, for example, to make more ventilators on behalf of other companies. And we've seen some other stocks in this area also looking, but yet to actually strike any deals. So in the aerospace and engineering industries, we've seen Meggitt leading a consortium that includes Airbus and Renishaw, and also UK firm Smiths Group, which already makes ventilators from a plant in Luton, is also looking to team up with manufacturers in the US to see how their designs can be made over there to help the US market.
One final question. What's this mean for investors?
Right now, as we said, the financial returns that will be on offer from these opportunities is very unclear. We've already seen some, sort of early stage negotiations, if you like, start in the US about, how much will be paid for ventilators that are made. So it's very unclear how this sort of balance between the need to produce them and the need to be profitable and keep the business going will sort of pan out. But for investors, I think it's wise to look at these companies that are stepping up. There are going to be long-term benefits to doing this. I mean, for example, if the outbreak lasts for a long period of time, then these are the companies that are going to find guaranteed sources of income and new business lines at a time when most businesses are struggling to even keep the doors open. So right now we're seeing it not only benefit them from a reputation standard, but also possibly their business models in the long term too.
Okay, look, Josh, it's a pleasure. Thanks indeed for catching up with us for this week's Markets Podcast. A look there at some of the companies that are shifting production into areas of most need globally. That was Josh Warner from IG.